We're back, but I want to point out a little problem that we have with the bullets. And I think you might have seen this from the last tutorial, that when I click, it's actually clicking more than once. So take a look at all of the bullet ammos. There should be 8 up there. I'm going to do one click. I clicked once, 2 of them went away. And if I click again, that's 2 clicks, and there's only 2 bullets left. And that's not acceptable. That's going to really frustrate the user. So turns out I actually came up with the fix on this. It's not even in the tutorial. And I went to timing. And I thought, you know, if we could just pause everything for just a moment after we set lives, that'll kind of like prevent us from doing anything else on that global left button click. And I thought about timing, and I thought, well, that's an alarm. I don't know if that's going to be kind of a pain. But what about this little thing? And it's sleep. So I dragged sleep out, and I tried a couple different numbers. And I tried 400 milliseconds, and that's less than half a second. Now, I started with 200 milliseconds, and I upped it to 400, and I think it was okay. So I'm just going to click OK, and I'll show you again now. I'm going to save my changes and test it and show you the results. So you've got to have that little sleep in there. You missed that little piece, and like I said, it's going to be frustrating for the user. And now notice there are 8. I'm going to do a click, and now there are 7. Do a click again, etc. So that's 1, 2, 3, and I've still got 5 up there. 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Game over. Okay, so we're gonna fix the game over screen. It's pretty boring. So let's do that right now. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to rooms, and I'm actually gonna. I realize it's pretty ugly to not have all of the pretty curtains and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this room. I'm going to delete that one and change it. I'm just going to go ahead and delete it now. I'm just going to delete that. Get rid of it. I'm going to right click on room and I'm going to duplicate. And so now I've got everything in the room. However, a couple things. We do not want crosshair anymore, and we don't need the controller. What we're going to do is we're going to place the game over object in here, and we're going to fix it so the game over will just display itself and then their final score. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over this little sphere that has the question mark, and I'm going to right click it, and that deletes it. I'm going to do the same thing with the crosshair, and that's gone. But I'm going to go back. Oh, object game over, it's still there. So I'm just going to click and then draw it and put it on the screen. And what you can do is you can look at the game over, and you can see the position of that object, and it's 496 or so and 288. So we can reposition that in just a bit. And so we got the game over thing here, and let's go to the game over object, and let's add a little extra to make that display a little better. So what we're going to do is we're going to do another draw event as it's drawn. What we need to do is make sure we draw the sprite and we draw the score. So I'm going to go over to draw, and I'm going to grab this, and that's draw sprite. And I'm going to add the sprite game over. There we go. And just ignore the sub image. We're going to just leave that as it is. And we are going to, I think it doesn't matter where we draw the self. I think I'm going to click relative and just call it that, and click OK. It draws itself, but now what we want to do is we want to set the font. So we drag the font over here. I'm going to choose it to font N, so it's going to be even larger. We're going to click OK. We're going to align this in the center because we want the score just centered underneath. And then what we want to do is draw the value of the score, and that's under score. And there it is. We drag this, and we're going to make it relative. I'm going to use the caption score, and it's already going to be centered, so we don't have to change the X. But what we should do is make it maybe 50 pixels down. So we're going to add 50 to it. So this will be underneath from the object, which is the part that says game over. So I'm going to click OK, and let's just test this out and see if it works. So of course we got to play it and run the end of the game, and that's going to take us a little bit, but I will do what I showed you before, and that is just hold it down. And notice that sleep, and there it is, game over, score 0. Okay, and if you think that's too far down, you can adjust the location of it, but all in all, I'd say that's pretty decent. So we've got our game over room. It ends the game. We can't fire anymore. So we've effectively got an end game state. We have some interaction, collision detection, which is just the clicking of the object. And we've got a lot of stuff here. Let's add a few more features before we're done. Let's add some targets that are just going to move across the screen. And so we're going to create another object, and it's going to be object underscore target. And we're going to go ahead and add the target, which is sprite target. So that's our target. And what we're going to do is, once we have that, we're going to do the left press. So if we click on it like we did before, so that's event, and that's mouse, and it's left button. Oh, left pressed, excuse me. Oh, wait a minute. Now I'm beginning to wonder if my crosshair left button. That was my issue. Check this out. I never did left pressed. Left press. Oh, wait, that was the global left button. Did I want to do it that way? Let me go double check. No, I didn't want to do that. Let me delete that. Let's change the event. Did you know you could do that? Global mouse, left, pressed, not left button. That was my issue. Okay, that's why I put the little sleep in there. I can't believe I fixed an issue that I created. It was my error. But at least I showed you how you can delete some of this stuff. Now check this out. Okay, so I got 2 events, and I want to transition my events, but I'm going to take the sleep off. What I can do is I can highlight both of these. I hold down shift, I click them both, and I right click, and I can copy. I go to left press, I can paste, and now I can delete that event, and it's global left pressed. Let's just make sure that was working before I go ahead and work on the target. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Remember, the global left press has to do with the crosshairs and where you're clicking on the screen, not that you have to click on an object. And so 1, 2, yeah. So if I hold it down, I can't spray the bullets. No wonder. There we go. Game over. Okay. So, I apologize. You're going to get this far into the video. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, he did global left button and didn't do there. Hey, so sue me. All right? No, don't sue me. But there's going to be no damages. I'm okay. All right, global left press. Okay, so sorry about that. We're going to go back to object target. Remember, that was the crosshair. So on the target, what we're going to do is when we left press on the target itself, then we're going to add some points. Let's destroy the instance. That's under main 1. Bam. So if we actually are able to click on the target, we destroy the target. And then we're going to set score. And we're going to set it relative. Let's give 10 points. Check relative. Click OK. So that means we're going to get 10 more points when we click it. And then the other thing is the timeline is actually going to control this object target. And we're going to get more and more targets. And one of the things that we need to do is these targets are going to like move off of the screen, not just destroy themselves at the end of the timer. And for that reason, when those things, they're going to move off the screen. Once they move off the screen, we've got to deal with that. We need to make sure that when it's outside of the room, it just deletes it. It gets deleted. So we're going to add an event. It's under other, and it's outside room. So once that thing gets outside of the room, then we're going to destroy itself. And so we just drag this out here, and we destroy it. Click OK. And then we don't have to worry about a bunch of these objects just like running amok outside of the screen. That's no fun. All right, so we are almost there. Let's take a look. We are going to let the timer or the controller deal with the speed and all of that stuff. Let's go ahead and make an object for our target bullets. So this is going to be another thing where when you click on this particular target, you're going to get more ammo. And this will allow your game to go a little bit longer, add a little more interesting functionality to it. So I'm going to go ahead and add another object. And so we'll call that object underscore target bullets like so. And we're going to get the sprite target bullets. That's going to be that. On the object, we're going to do it very similar. We're going to, on a left left mouse click, we are going to destroy the instance. Click OK, but we're going to add to our lives this time, because remember, it's the lives we're using to add ammo. So we're going to put 3. It's the same as adding 3, but we're going to check relative, so it's adding 3, not just setting it to 3. So the moment we click it, we're going to get 3 new lives. However, we will have also lost a life to click it, so technically speaking, you get 2 bullets when you click it, because 1 click to click it wastes 1 of your 3. The sprite has 2, so that's what we want to do. So it leaves the room, it's destroyed. Now we want to go to the timeline of our, we got to go deal with the timeline and start adding it in as well. For that, we got to go back to timelines. This was one of the early on tutorials, timeline room the first. And we have several steps, 75, 150, 225. Let's add a step at 90. So we're going to do 3 seconds into the game. We're going to create that object target bullets. And what we're going to do is we're going to set it near kind of the right-hand side of the screen. It's going to be anywhere top to bottom. We don't know exactly where it's going to be, but we're going to set its speed and we're going to set its direction. So there's a lot we're going to do to it. So we're going to go ahead and add another, we're going to add a moment at 90. So we're going to click OK. And then at 90, we're going to create a moving object. And I believe that's main 1. Yes, you see that object that has a little arrow there? That's create a moving object. We're going to create the object target bullets. And we're going to give it an X of about 960. So it's going to be the right-hand side of the screen, not all the way to the right, not off of the screen, because we don't want it outside of the room. And we're going to set its Y to a relative position, and or a random position. So remember, this is the random function. You write out random and open parenthesis, and then you type a number. Let's try 300 plus, we're going to add 100. So it could appear like random could choose 0, in which case it would be at a Y of 100. It could choose all the way up to, but I don't think including 300. So it could go all the way up to 299, but then it would add 100, so that'd be 399. So we're going to have a bit of a range there. And on the speed, we're going to give it a speed of 12. And now we're going to give it a direction. Now, in a direction, I'm going to go ahead and show you the tutorial because I really want you to see how directions work. I'm going to move this tutorial over here. And I just want you to point out, or I want to point out to you, that 0 is actually going to the right. And then we're working our way counterclockwise. I know it seems counterintuitive. So 90 degrees would be up to the top. 180 would be going in that direction. We want it going in that direction, so we're going to type 180. If we wanted it to go down, it would be 270. So let's go ahead and type in the direction of 180. And let's test this out and see how this is working. Oh, but we're gonna do one other thing. Let's see if I have time. I think I have time. We're gonna add duplicate step 90 to moment 270. So I think what we need to do is click on 90 and choose duplicate. And we're going to do from moment, and we're going to write, I think we're going to go from moment 90 to moment, till moment 90 to moment. I'm going to put 270. And we're just going to mess around with some more timeline events. So at this point, we now have one at step 90, one at step 270. And we're going to make another timeline and create a regular moving target. We're going to do this at 115. It's going to be very similar. So we've got the target bullets at 90 and 270. Let's add another one. We're going to do it at 115 and click OK. And we're going to do another moving target, but this time it's going to be the object target, this one. So it's the same, very similar one, and we're going to do an X of about 60. And we're going to make a random Y position. And so this one is going to move it's going to start on the left and it's going to move towards the right. So we do x of 60, y of random. I'm going to put in parentheses 300. I'm going to put a little space there. I don't know if that helps readability. It probably doesn't. And we're going to give this one a speed of 12 also. And we're going to give it a direction of 0. So this one moves to the right. Oh, I don't have to put plus, by the way. I can just put 12. Speed of 12. Click OK. So at this point, we have step 75, 90, 115, 150, 225, 270, 300, and then it will loop. Okay, let's test this out and see how we are doing. I'm going to save my changes. I've done a lot of work. Want to test it out. Technically, I should probably test before I save, just in case. And let's just watch and see if this is working. So we got our ammo on here. We got our score. I click. Oh, look. Hey, I got some bullets. And there's another target. And so we got a variety of things going on. And so now, here we go. By the way, you can set random speeds as well, which is kind of fun. All right, you get the idea. We're just rocking through this one. This is pretty easy, right? So, bam. All right, so there's a lot of adjustments you can make, but it looks like we have a pretty decent one going. And there you go. All right, stay tuned. I think we're pretty close to being done. I'm going to play around with just a couple more items to test this out and just sort of do a wrap-up video. So you could technically call it done at this point, but there's a couple of things that I think you'd probably want to follow. And I'd like to show you some ideas of ways that you can improve this game with some suggestions for how to make some modifications. Stay tuned for that.